So here's a simple look at our agenda today. I'm just going to touch quickly on why you're hearing about this from Autodesk and IMAGINiT. I'll talk from a high level about some of the trends that Autodesk and IMAGINiT are seeing. James is going to walk through details around the design and make report, and then I'll review a customer that's been more progressive in their digital maturity, end up sharing some success stories and a follow-up with you. And then James and I'll answer any questions that you have in the chat. So I'll get started. I have 5 slides. I'm going to set the stage for James Slater, the star of the show, but at the end, I'll come back for that brief customer story. So let me get started. So why is IMAGINiT partnering with Autodesk to bring this content with you today? So a couple of reasons. One is we're a system integrator for Autodesk. We help our customers design their IT systems for the future, especially around engineering and design systems, but we do impact how data is delivered across the entire value chain. We also help customers strategically choose the right technology applications for whatever their job they're trying to do. And then we leverage our 40 years of experience to help our customers more quickly realize the benefits of their technology spend. And finally, a big topic in the survey, we have several unique adoption capabilities to leverage to help onboard and upskill the workforce. So bullet number 2 is that we help our customers do the things that the respondents in this report care about. So those are things like lowering costs with the use of technology, enabling the workforce by giving them tools to get their job done better and faster, and then support things like sustainability by reducing wasted time, energy, and materials. So I'm mixing some industries here, just like the report, but I'm using a manufacturing slide because it's the one I use most often. However, there are very similar topics and trends that exist on the AEC side of the business. So these are generally items to consider across industries, especially as design, construction, and manufacturing practices continue to converge. But as leaders, we have to keep an eye on these industry trends, especially with the coming of AI. I'm seeing the gap between companies that have progressed to connected systems quickly outpacing those who have not. So the organizations that we see are more siloed are less adaptable to the trends that you see up on this slide. The survey really supports this observation that I have, that more mature processes lead to a higher level of digital maturity, driving more success in these areas. So I think what's interesting about the information that James will share with you is that different industries care more about these trends. They care more or less about them, but they have a lot of commonality in regard to things like the use of cloud services leading to their digital maturity. So in the end, to take advantage of the trends, we all have to go through change, including our company, which doesn't happen, in a day, a week, or months. Most of our successful customers, they start working on their systems 3, 4, 5 years ago, and they're steadily making these improvements to their data and process continuity. So I think the important point is, and what the survey tries to get across is get started on building your business resilience, but also work at the pace that's appropriate for your particular market and your company. So you can look at the trends in the last slide. I think a lot of us can have an opportunistic outlook, but we've got to balance that with that optimism with a dose of reality. So, I'd like, as we're going through this, to ask yourself, is my company ready to take advantage of these opportunities that are right in front of it? So you're going to hear Mr. Slater talk about optimism regarding the business environment, which is good. It's very good. That was a positive result that comes out of this survey. However, to remain competitive, the business leaders that responded pointed out that they're going to make investments in their digital maturity to drive resilience into their company to do things like keeping their costs down, taking advantage of technologies like machine learning and AI, and then capturing and keeping the right talent on the bus. Another trend that we're seeing is that we've got a once-in-a-generation opportunity sitting right in front of us. So over the past 40 years, we've seen the industry move from 2D to 3D to generating a ton of data to leveraging better collaboration tools, especially driven by the pandemic. But today we're starting to see disruption in all these industries again, that's creating this inflection point. And the reason behind that is cloud technology is becoming more prominent, more accessible, and it's allowing for just tremendous amounts of processing power that we can take advantage of. Unified cloud data supports these seamless workflows throughout an entire ecosystem, regardless of file types or formats. So files will be broken down into these consumable data bits instead of these large complex files that have been really hard to work with and difficult to interrogate. And then of course, artificial intelligence helps us learn. It learns how to automate repetitive tasks such as drawing creation and modeling. So these are all enablers that we see that will help us achieve our business goals and outcomes now and into the future. So one more trend that I'll point out before I turn this over is Autodesk isn't the only company headed down this particular path, but I do believe they're in the front of the pack. But software companies are now taking a platform approach to delivering positive outcomes by helping their customers connect entire project life cycles. So that's from design to building design to construction and media creation to production. So for customers ready to take advantage of these connected environments, Autodesk offers 3 industry clouds. So that's Fusion for manufacturing, Forma for AEC, and Flow for media and entertainment. So, and these clouds are all tied together by a cloud service, Autodesk Platform Services, allowing cross-industry design and make workflows. The Autodesk Platform Services is a foundational layer of shared services that really enables and enriches all these industry clouds. So the neat thing that we use it for and our customers use it for is to really customize, extend, and connect the Autodesk products with other technologies and creating these seamless end-to-end workflows across all these clouds. So this is really the move to a cloud-based platform that's key in the journey to digital maturity. Okay, so I'm going to turn the presentation over to James to walk through the survey findings. But first, before that, Lori, would you take a minute to please play the overview video?
Hello, I'm the future. And I'm here to tell the story of a design and make movement that's revolutionizing the way the world gets made. As we speak, industry leaders are upskilling their workforce, accelerating progress with AI, and embracing sustainability. With the Autodesk Design and Make platform, problem solvers like you are creating the future I always hoped to become. With your help, we're going to make it, because together, we can make anything.
Thank you very much. Hope you enjoyed that video. Jason, thank you so much for that most wonderful introduction. It really is an exciting time now inside Autodesk, and to be an Autodesk partner and to work with our customers. Autodesk is being absolutely intentional with making a significant change in the industry and with our customers. State of Design and Make Report 2024. It's a global report. It's an annual report, because this is not the first time we've done this. This is our second report, and it's for leaders and futurists just like you. It's for people that design things, design places, objects, products, and also design experiences. There's a lot more digitalization now of all processes and engagements with the customers. It identifies the most pressing issues that are shaping our customers, also these futurists too. So it's not just an Autodesk perspective. It's also cross-industry. So it's covering people in design and manufacturing, architecture, engineering, construction, as well as media. We also break this information out so you can access this information and look at the things that matter to you. The reason why we do that, it's so that you're better informed. You can consider what other people are doing in other parts of the world, perhaps in other industries too. That will help you to make more informed decisions. Also to have better conversations, but to ensure that your strategies and your intent are absolutely aligned to the opportunities that are there in the future. It's a huge global effort to produce this report, and we're being totally transparent with the information we have and where it came from. Last year, we had about 2,700 respondents to a survey. Last year, about 2,700. If you will see on my screen now, you will see there are 5,399 respondents. That's virtually twice the size of respondents. That's across all industries, futurists, experts, some are Autodesk customers, and also people that are not Autodesk customers. We went out totally into the industry. You'll see in the bottom left-hand corner that that was a 20-minute online survey, and you can see the dates of when that survey was done too. We're very transparent with this. What you'll notice later on, you'll have links to this report. When you have a look at that report, you can break it down by the industry, by the regions, fully transparency of where that information has came from. If you look at the methodology here, we also break down that information by industry, which you'll see in the center of your screen, AEC at the top, design and manufacturing second, and then media entertainment down there at the bottom. On the right-hand side, in the top right-hand corner, you will see the responses by region. So you'll see over there in the Americas, 1,291 total respondents, of which 174 were from Canada and 733 are from the US. And you can see the remaining two countries there from the Americas. That is a big representation there across the Americas. And also, if you look at the bottom of the screen, it also goes into how much experience the average respondent has given. So 11 years of experience within there is the average, and that's across 5,400 respondents. So that's a significant variation. Within the report, you'll notice it. There are three key themes in the report. The first is business resilience. That's how companies are adapting to the changing world. Think back to what Jason just talked about. Jason just talked about the trends. He talked about big trends that are happening with the customers with whom he's engaging and what's happening with customers today. That's where we see those business transformation changes. That's with those disconnected processes, supply chain disruption, that macroeconomic, the talent, those kinds of things we move into, because talent includes attracting, developing, and retaining a skilled workforce. Think of your role in your business. Think of the challenges that you have to attract new talent, how to develop it, but also how to retain it too. Talent is a significant response area on this report. Often when we talk about Slater Design and Make, or we talk about the industries, we think about the technologies and the processes. But what comes absolutely through here is the human element, and talent is significant here in those responses. And when we look at sustainability, sustainability is interesting. It's talked about now as a key theme. It's happening in the market. Customers want to see it, employees do. We've got metrics in here about how impactful that is. But also sustainability, it's not just for the end user. This has interest and it has applications and it has value in other areas too. And I'll show you this later on in this presentation. It's also in this report itself. What you'll notice with this report, it resonates for people that make strategic decisions, but it's also providing insight into businesses themselves. So whatever your role in your organization, I would suggest it's worth a good read and also share information too with your colleagues. It's almost like I'm starting with a spoiler alert now. I'm giving you the top insights of this report rather than you reading it or seeing this presentation. What I'm doing here is from those three themes, you'll see at the top, business resilience. We have four areas within here, within that business resilience. There's two within talent and two within sustainability. We have seen a very positive outlook, new challenges, the value of digital tools. In a word, the business leaders and experts are very optimistic this year. And if we look at the areas we're going to cover today, we're going to talk about digitally mature companies. They report even greater success. We're looking at AI. AI, no surprise, is a hot conversation topic. Everybody wants to talk about it in some degree. Talent. Within here, upskilling, but also the problem of solving talent acquisition and retention. So upskilling, talent acquisition and retention, that came through strongly in the report. But we should start with something that's really, really important for all of us. and that is optimism is returning. That's no real surprise this year. We've had major challenges that have taken place within the industry, regardless of whether you're in architecture, whether you're in engineering, whether you're in construction, or whether you're in design and manufacturing. The optimism is returning, but what we are seeing, there's real benefits from digital investments, and they've paid off. And they've paid off significantly. So last year's survey, respondents emphasised the sense of uncertainty brought about by the global pandemic, the geopolitical turmoil, the economic instability in many markets, and many businesses were struggling to attract talent as they grew. But this year, business leaders and experts in the Americas are much more confident. In fact, 76% said their companies are prepared to handle unforeseen economic and geopolitical challenges, and that was up from 51% last year. So we're seeing a 25% increase in that optimism, which is absolutely fantastic. It's also due to those businesses that have navigated those challenges I've just talked about, are feeling increasingly confident. And if we look here, they're now starting to report to us as well about their preparedness to prepare for an uncertain future. So having navigated those challenges, what they're reporting to us, there's a 30% increase, and that is how they are prepared for the future. If you looked at this, think about a number, how many percentage of people could be prepared going forward? The number this year is 85%. 85% this year feel more prepared for the uncertain future than a year ago. Last year, only 55% of respondents said they're prepared. This year, it's 85%. They've made significant progress to achieve that confidence. Key amongst that has been the ability to invest in digital maturity. And digital maturities, as companies are seeing greater business success. When you get the report, you'll be able to go in there and break it down to see what it really means for you in your industry, in your country, and see what those applications are. What I will say in the Americas, that those companies that invest in digital transformation are seeing dramatic results. They're more competitive in their industries, their employees are more productive, and they see an overall better performance with companies than lower level of digital investment. And you think, well, isn't that the goal? Isn't that the aim of it? Well, when you're looking at digital transformation and that maturity, what we're seeing here is increasing confidence, but also ability of performance. When you get your full report, you can look at page 23. I've included the page number, the bottom left-hand corner of the screen for your reference. If you're going to screen grab this now, you can go to that page yourself later. So organisations with higher levels of investment in technology, 50% of those respondents rate their organisation's performance as exceptional. And that's only 32% of companies that invest less than that. So if those higher levels of investment are giving real gains in performance. And those companies themselves have a digital strategy. And we'll talk a bit more about this later, a bit later in this presentation. But that's key that comes through. And I'll give some ideas of where you can start and what can be done later in this presentation. And if we look at those respondents, those that say productivity is the top benefit of digital transformation. And they say that digital investments have improved that productivity by 62%. Productivity is a key topic within global leaders of business, but also within government as well, and across the whole industry and futurist leaders. They're talking about productivity improvements. What we're seeing here is those that invest in the digital investments at a higher rate have seen productivity improvements by up to 62%. Productivity and digital investments are heavily linked. And that came through in the report. So when we looked at these here, we saw that in the ranking, 62% of companies here were put down productivity as being top, and productivity ranks number 2 at 60%. What we are seeing increases of is respondents now talking about customer satisfaction. That's increasing hugely. It's because companies are getting closer to the customer using digital technology. When we talk about digital technology, typically that's referred to as digital transformation. When you're on Google, when you're on your search engine, or when you're looking at your favorite industry sites, a key term that's coming up is digital transformation. But that's understood differently. There is no single meaning of digital transformation. But I would refer to it as a process. And we in Autodesk see it this way, and this is how our technologies are developed. We see it as a way of looking at what you do and how you do it, and applying technology and best practices to those parts of your business in such a way that your value proposition to your people, profits, and of course the planet are transformed. There are huge things you can do with digital transformation. Now, digital transformation, it all sounds rather vague and it all sounds rather abstract because you can't see data. Now, when you look at this screen on here, I'd like to look at this screen here and just start to self-reflect. Just start to look at that screen on there and things on there that stand out for you, and what do you recognize? Because when we show this to our customers, the first time we ever meet them, and to the businesses and to those that we talk about within industries, and this can be in design and manufacturing, but it's also the case in architecture and engineering, when you're talking across departments, when you're talking with suppliers, when you're talking to all the people you need to communicate with, and then you're talking to all your different devices, you're sending information at different locations. I'd like to think for a moment about how you're sending that data. If you look on the screen here, we are looking at, you'll see Outlook messages, emails. You're seeing USB memory sticks. You're also seeing files that are sent between different locations and different people in different file formats. You're also seeing a mixture of digital processes, manual processes, and those analog processes. What you're really getting is huge amounts of communication issues within a business. To send a file as an attachment is a quick fix, but with that becomes other challenges. Think for yourself how many times you see a USB memory stick within your daily business, or within your business, or with customers. Think how many times that if you looked in your email inbox, how many times do you have an attachment? When you're doing data in that way, it becomes uncontrolled. And it was interesting because when we looked at a customer feedback, this response came through and it proved that very, very clearly. And if you look at Michael, what he states here, we are very focused on digital documentation and information gathering. Whether we're collaborating with contractors or designing a project, it's all fully digital. Our suppliers do not send us lists in Excel or emails with attachments. Of course, as much as possible, everything is done through our software, and then there is one source of truth. Now, Michael's role in here in building information modeling and GIS, and involved with surveying too, if you looked at this, that has a single source of truth. Sharing information by email attachments is very quick, but it's not controlled. And that's where we see now in these two slides, one was in the design and manufacturing space, these quote here is from the architecture, engineering, construction space. What we'll see is exactly the same challenges. Jason mentioned earlier about the platform approach, where Autodesk, in his opinion, are leading the way. Because you need to bring that data together in a common environment to share it, have that single source of truth, and to enable you to get unique insights. And you need to think about data now in the longer term with a strategy, especially with areas such as artificial intelligence coming up. And it's no surprise that digital transformation is a global priority. If you look in the Americas, 56% of those respondents said they're approaching the goal, and 23% in the middle. Now, if you looked at that across the Americas, that does cover North and South America, what we'll find is that goal is not in one place. The goal keeps moving. As companies progress with their achievements, as they develop more capabilities, as they become more impactful to their customers, that goal moves. It keeps moving. It's a process. There's no end destination. And that's because successes are pushing that boundary further and further back. And when I stated about data, I really mean thinking about your data strategy. Sending data as an attachment on an email or a USB stick moves it from one place to another. But the goodness within there, the insights with that data itself, we need to think now collectively across the industry of how that data is stored. And we need to think about localizing that data so people can get access to it, but also how it's going to be accessed in the future. Accessing data in the future is going to be key to unleashing the value when we come to AI. What was interesting this year is AI shot up into the report itself as being an area of great interest. And interestingly, when I listen to the media or read articles, people talk about AI. Is it a threat? Is it an opportunity? It's an active debate that's taking place within business publications and the media. But what we found on the report was that business leaders and experts are very bullish indeed on artificial intelligence. And that ranged from automated the transaction of meeting minutes to laying out factory floors. But also it led the leaders and the experts to predict that generative AI will increase human workers to make crucial design decisions about physical products, the buildings and the digital assets. They're seeing generative AI as being increasingly impactful to the human workers and to make better decisions. Getting hold of the data and managing data is key at the moment. Much of the conversation about AI in design and make industry is centered on generative design, but they're also looking at more opportunities for back office. And that's really where data now sits on a common platform. Everything's starting to sit together. The Excel sheets, the finance sheets, we're talking design information, customer information. As that becomes more aligned into a platform, that is exactly the kind of feedback we expect to get. It's a proof point to the direction we're going, and we make impactful too. And overall, the top use cases for AI today are increasingly in productivity and automating those mundane, repetitive tasks. And when we talk about automating mundane, repetitive tasks, we're thinking about those tasks where they don't add value. It's those things that are just work. You're re-entering data into different places, but it's the same data. Those are the kinds of tasks that we're looking to automate, but also the emphasis on productivity. On page 37 of the report, you'll see beyond productivity, the AI use cases. But in truth, if you looked at productivity, I'm just showing it on the screen now. I'll show AEC next, the architecture, engineering, construction next. If you look at this, the huge focus here is on increasing productivity. So you look at design and manufacturing industry, it is increasing productivity. But for people on this call that's got an AEC slant, if you look at building products and fabrication, which is the third row, 51% of those respondents there also said AI is being used to increase productivity in that industry. So productivity is a significant player. And when we looked at the architecture, engineering, construction, we had very similar feedback here. It's the productivity of where we're seeing the greatest impact. And that was whether it's in architecture, for building owners, construction services, or engineering. It was all giving that heavy impact that productivity was the big beneficiary of AI for them within the last 12 months. So the real strengths here, we're getting together now that narrative. Companies are looking at the data more holistically. They're seeing inside the business they need to get control of it. They understand that artificial intelligence is coming through. They understand that productivity is a big initial driver for them, and they're feeling very, very confident. There are proof points that we've got within this report that show those companies which invest more in digitalization and those digital tools are getting more dramatic gains. In fact, 62% productivity gains in some cases. So significantly productivity, digitalization, significantly linked. What I'm going to show you now, I'm just going to talk over a video now for the next 90 seconds. Within this video here, what we're going to see is AI tools from Autodesk. This will be used for generative design to give design iterations, but it's also going to show how to analyze, augment, and automate the different workflows that exist within your businesses. This example we're seeing on the screen, this is Fusion for design iteration. Then we're looking at automation. Here we're seeing point clouds that are being used to light up that image's face. We're looking at AutoCAD here for adding and for identifying key features of symbols inside a drawing. We're also looking here at photo tagging in Autodesk Build. You've got automatic tags based on that photograph. We're looking at analysis in Autodesk Construction Cloud with Construction IQ. And here, automated the drawings. You've created the design and the drawings itself can be fully automated using AI. You've got Flow, which is used here for creating scheduling as well. And of course, when we're looking at construction, Forma today is using AI technologies when we're looking at the wind technology, and the same as automotive. Look at how we can adjust the wheelbase and how the rest of the automotive vehicle there adjusted based on that slider. And now we look at Forma. That's being used now, AI, for generative design. There's so much we could talk about with AI that Autodesk has already done, and that's across all three of those industries. But AI itself is not new. AI has been around for some time. The tools are there today that gives you that ability to go and have those conversations and make meaningful change within your business. It's something that can be adopted today. It exists today. And the reason why it's become so in demand is that we're looking at the talent and the individuals, because AI is being incorporated. It's not a future thing, because digital skills are in demand, and the ability to work with AI has emerged as a top digital skill that organizations are now looking for. And that was followed by digital design and software development. And attracting and retaining those skilled employees is a top in mind for most organizations. And the global labour market has shifted now in favour of employees at the moment compared to last year. And that was from the survey we got. But companies are very intentional about shoring up and remake those key workers they have within their business. And they're doing that with a mixture of training, new digitalisation tools, plus other means of attracting a workforce. If we look at this slide here, we're showing all three industries on the screen. If we look on the left-hand side, if we look at architecture, the engineering and the construction, rank number one, the ability to implement and work with AI. That is exactly the same as came out in design and manufacturing industry. That shows you there's huge interest within this area, but there's also going to be a huge competition for places too. People that are going to attract talent in the future need to have the tools that are going to be attractive to that workforce. And if we look on the left-hand side and we go down, the top industry skills they're looking for were digital design skills in architecture, engineering, but also in the mining industry, knowledge of security and safety and digital project management. But also down there, breaking down a bit further, was the ability to implement and work with AI. That was with construction services and with utility companies. It's pretty similar, really, if you looked inside the design and manufacturing business too. You have the ability to implement and work with AI, and that came across from consumer products, process manufacturing, and building products and fabrication. There's key themes coming through here, and data and security is absolutely key. And Autodesk are very strong and transparent on that. We can talk about that as a separate call if we so wish. But data analytics. When I showed that slide earlier on with all those red arrows, USB memory sticks, emails with attachments, getting hold of managing the data is going to be key. If you're going to analyze it in the future, mine it for information and get insights. Getting that data strategy is absolutely key. And that's where upskilling is absolutely essential, but for many companies, it is out of reach. And when we look at upskilling, this is beneficial to obviously the company, the organization itself, but it's hugely rewarding for the employees, and it is something they look for. Because leaders want to train and upskill their workforce, but the reality is companies do not know how to do that in many cases. They lack the expertise needed to design that effective internal training program. Training programs are becoming increasingly important in a digital strategy creation. The tools and developments are moving so fast. The knowledge employees have got, you need to reward those people and to make them more impactful inside a business. So in part of any digital strategy, training is key. But the reality was only 38% of organizations had the necessary skills and the resources to provide that internal training. And if you looked inside of there, the key challenge was how to bridge that training gap. And that's where companies are now starting to look outside for training partners. Globally, 77% of companies said upskilling is important. But globally, only 38% said they had the resources to do it. That is a huge mismatch. And when we're looking across globally and we break that down, what you'll see here is that within North America, in Canada, 66% of companies that responded said upskilling was important, and 48% said they had the resources to do that. When you look inside the United States, that's pretty much more typical what we're seeing in the rest of the world. 79% of those companies said upskilling is important, but only 36% said they have the resources to do it. So when you're looking at that, 4 out of 5 companies identify upskilling as important, but only 1 in 3 have got the internal resources to do it. This is a huge challenge. Not only is it a challenge of recruitment, it's a challenge of upskilling to retain a workforce. Having a training program and an upskilling program is absolutely key to bridging that gap, to realise the opportunities. Leaders are seeing there's an opportunity to upskill, but they're also recognising they're unable to do that. And that's where reaching out to get those resources is exactly what companies are intending on doing. And this is why it's exactly on this call, speaking to your partner about this, who has the tools to do it, and the experience is exactly how to plug that gap. I'll leave this slide on the screen just for a few more seconds so you can see what the other regions of the world are. But again, if you look inside the report, you'll be able to see your country and where it fits with other respondents within other regions, because we are in an interconnected world now. But companies are taking a multi-pronged approach to solving that talent problem. It's no longer a case of just doing the recruitment and coming into a role. Employees are attracted to organisations that have got the tools to allow them to be productive and successful. The tools you use has come through within the report as being attractive for them to be productive and successful. So these tools matter. There's a reason for that. Social media now allows that greater insight into what's available. We can go online and see what companies are doing. We can see what other solutions are out there. People are much better informed. Us as consumers, when we go to buy anything these days, we have a good degree of knowledge before we go in. But also when you're looking at attracting talent, these people have been trained. They've gone to college, perhaps university, perhaps schools, but they've been retrained. They've had good learning experiences. They know what good looks like. And that's why they look for the right tools. But people today as well, when they're looking for a role, it came through on the report that 72% of those people looking for a new role said sustainability efforts were helping to attract and retain talent. Sustainability does matter in the recruitment. It matters in the retention too. And when companies are positioning themselves as being a good place to go, making a dramatic change in the world, and can solve the biggest challenges, because the biggest challenges are global, companies are being very proactive with what they're doing with sustainability. The report does break down into those areas of what sustainability means. Time when this call doesn't allow me to go into all of those areas, but it covers a top 10, and you can see within there what companies are doing. We've talked about tools, we've talked about upskilling, talked about digitalization. We also talked about artificial intelligence, we've talked about data. It's a lot of things, and it really is a lot of things on that journey. But for the average user that sits down in front of a screen, they just want to get on and do the job and do it in an effective way. And as leaders, want to ensure the business is making the most impact as possible for a customer. What I'm going to show on the screen now, I'm just going to play you a 30-second video. I'm just going to talk over this. I'm not going to go through the whole video. It's not a product demo. There's plenty of people that can provide that for you and answer your specific questions. I'm going to show you how artificial intelligence is used in just one of our solutions inside of Autodesk. If you were to ask for an artificial AI demo and for architecture and construction, they can also do that. I'm just going to show this one because most people recognize what a robot is. And I'm going to show you some challenges as we go along. This robot here on the end, right on the end, you have a device that allows it to pick up, cut, weld, or do whatever the process is called. That's called an end effector. And if you look at the top left-hand corner, we're going to do a design situation upon that. Within this video itself, you'll be able to pick out then manufacturing capabilities. So excuse me, that's my error. Manufacturing capabilities. And that will be then the machining process, casting process to produce that part. By defining the processes you have got, the artificial intelligence within inside this solution here will then give design iterations. All those designs were created by AI. The user then chooses the ones that aesthetically look best value. They also then analyze it by safety margin and mass. It then allows them to build up within exactly the same solution of 3D printing, and then they can machine it to a finished fit. When we look at that robot there, we have just seen a snapshot of that workflow. Workflows are changing. They're becoming more automated. We're looking at a greater degree of analyzation. We're also looking at augmenting those existing skills and processes. I started off by talking about three themes that came through on the report. The first was business resilience, and those business leaders feel much more confident in their organisation's ability to navigate change. And boy, have we seen a lot of change in the last few years. But it's also led them to be bolder in exploring new technology and processes to uncover new opportunities. And that came through with greater confidence. The more they invested, greater productivity, the greater confidence, the more resilience they have. These are linked. When we looked at talent, that ability to address the continued hiring challenges, but also companies are investing heavily in training and upskilling that workforce. And there's a clear gap in the upskilling requirements and the ability to deliver a training program. I would urge any company to talk to their partners about how they can develop a continual development program to upskill their workforce, to keep them level with the latest trends. But also advertise those abilities, because they are attractive in retaining talent, but also to attract new talent. With an ongoing workforce, ongoing skills, what you're doing with sustainability absolutely matters. And that sustainability, that pressure is driven by public and private sectors, but also from employees as well. You'll notice in the report there's a significant interest amongst employees on sustainability driving. It matters to them. It's a global challenge. And when we look to all three of those, AI is increasingly becoming a solution that companies are turning to help them be more sustainable. I've covered a lot of topics, and I'm doing so to create an interest and give you awareness of what's inside that report, because there is a lot of information within that report. But I just wanted to remind you and leave it on the screen here and be totally transparent with all that information came from, by industry and also by region. There's a significant amount of information here. And that's why we break it down into individual reports as well as the main report itself. In the top left-hand corner, you'll see the Design and Make full report. And that's exactly what will be shared with you and what you can get access to. And you can consume that at leisure, and that'll be for you to keep within your computers. But there are other variations too. Time doesn't allow me to go into those at the moment. And my final slide, I would like to point out to you that in North America, there is a Design and Make conference that takes place on October 15th to 17th in San Diego. Courses that are shown here also take place online as well. So it's in presence, but also online. This will show a lot of capabilities. This report has influenced significantly the courses that will be shown at this conference, but also the talk tracks that will be shown too. There's a lot of information here, but this is a journey. Autodesk has made a commitment to the State of Design and Make report. It's made a commitment to the customers, our partners, and to share that information with you so you can make better strategic decisions and ask more informed questions and consider how you can win in design and manufacturing. So at that, I'll now hand it back to Jason. Thank you.
All right, thank you, James. Very nice overview of the Design and Make report and survey. So yeah, this is 2 years in a row. Really enjoyed it. I think it's going to continue. So very excited to present with you today, and so appreciate you sharing those insights. So what I'm going to do next is share a customer story. So I think we both talked about things like business resilience, upskilling the workforce, and sustainability. And this example actually is they're cross industry. So it's a manufacturer that creates stormwater systems for civil applications. So, but they hit all these different points, and they've been on their digital journey and have built quite a bit of maturity into their process. So, and I've been very fortunate enough to work closely with this company for several years. They build highly engineered, sustainable underground water storage systems. They're one of the top recyclers in North America, so I'll recall out sustainability for them, which is very cool, and their employees are extremely proud of that. And these systems are placed underground actually to hold water and slowly let it shed back into the water system, which reduces environmental impacts. Again, more sustainability, so pretty awesome. So, but due to an increase in market demand, regulations, they had to find ways to improve project turnaround times to customers. And they had a couple of options to do that. One is hire more people but due to the complexity of their systems and the amount of knowledge that it takes one to design one, it would take years to get those people up to speed, or they identified that 70% of their work could be defined in an engineering system. So fortunately for them and for us, they decided to leverage technology, which would provide them a lot more cost savings in the future. So this project that we've gone through has had some huge objectives. We had to replace 2D web and design tools. They asked us to help save them 50% on their design time. We've actually accomplished over 70% in some cases, so that's pretty amazing. And then support a lot of jobs, so up to 20,000 designs per year. So the other ask was to create a connected system. So create business continuity, really from CRM or sales all the way out to ERP and manufacturing. So, so this didn't happen overnight. Like many great customer situations that we work with, we're on a journey. I keep saying that. It's not a software implementation anymore. It's a journey for business process improvement. But together, we've automated well over half the product lines. We've created a self-service web application where their customers can come on and actually build and spec their own designs, which reduce costs for both them and their customers. It creates efficiencies for both sides, and then it really improves their customers' experience. So beyond that, we've actually globalized this application along with them. So next, we're not done yet. So we'll continually to work on things like functionality, usability, integration, better customer engagement with future goals. And we're set up really well to leverage technologies like AI to evolve the system. Actually already use the Autodesk platform, which is great. So really set up well to leverage those AI technologies that James is talking about. So their digital maturity has really helped them. They, you know, just like the report says, they've nearly doubled their sales in 5 years, and that's not a small number. So, and it's also kept them a market leader. So I'll actually send some follow-ups out on that as well, but just wanted to share that story that, you know, it's really impacted those that have gone on this journey. All right, I want to just re-thank James Slater for sharing all his knowledge with us. It's fantastic, and I know it's a little bit of getting ahead of people reading the survey, but when you read it, hopefully it'll make more sense to you faster. And I hope this helped the audience understand where other companies, wherever your home is or around the globe, what they're facing. And to me, these are insights that help us understand how to go out and compete on a global basis. So we'll send out a follow-up. Please download the survey, read it yourself, interpret it, and interpret that information on your own. And then if you have any questions, you can put them in the Q&A panel now. Otherwise, you can reach out to your IMAGINiT account rep or myself, and we can always take these conversations in future meetings offline and address whatever questions you have. But I wanted to thank you all again for attending today, and Lori will open it up for questions.